When someone mentions game streaming, you probably instantly think of PlayStation Now, but there is actually a competing service on the horizon, namely Nvidia Grid. So in this video, we're going to be taking a closer look at the service in action, and comparing it to the scarily similar PlayStation Now on the PS Vita. So this service has just released in its final form and is available on the Shield Portable, the Shield Tablet and the Shield TV box released earlier this year. Whereas PlayStation Now, you're actually streaming PlayStation games, the Nvidia Grid uses PC games, so there's slight differences between the game libraries. On top of that, Nvidia Grid doesn't exactly have a giant selection. There's about 70 games on offer at the minute, but then again new ones are being added weekly, but this is not exactly the most up-to-date library. It takes time for Nvidia to optimize each individual game so that it works. PlayStation Now on the other hand offers over 500 titles, so on the face of it, it may sound like there's no competition, but hear me out. I actually think Nvidia Grid is miles better than the PlayStation Now service. To begin with, each game on Nvidia Grid streams at 720p. Now that is more than double the resolution of the 480p that streams on the PlayStation Vita. The difference is game changing. If you actually consider that also the PlayStation Vita's display is 5 inches and the Shield tablet's is 8 inches, the experience becomes a whole lot more immersive. And while PlayStation Now doesn't exactly sound bad, the Nvidia Shield tablet just has much better speakers than the PlayStation Vita, and so the experience is really brought to life. On top of this, when you're actually using PlayStation Now, you're limited by the 30 frames per second cap that's normally set on a PlayStation 3 game, whereas with Nvidia Grid, you get a smooth 60 frames per second and it's flawless. Both services do offer a very stable frame rate, but the fact that this one runs at 60 just makes it so much more immersive. If you saw my review of PlayStation Now on the PlayStation Vita, you'll remember that I hated the controls. The Vita lacked the L2 and R2 buttons that you really needed to have that console experience, especially with an FPS game. Without that, you have to use the touchscreen and it's uncomfortable to say the least. With the Nvidia Shield, there is no such problem. While there is the slight issue that you do have to dish out an extra $50 or so to get the controller, you do get a full console style experience. There is not one button missing. I'd actually go as far to say that the Shield controller is one of the best I've ever used. However, while the Nvidia Grid service hands down offers a better experience than PlayStation Now, it does also come with higher requirements. Whereas with PlayStation Now, you can quite easily get away with a 10 megabits download speed, the Grid service, I'd recommend you have at least 30 if you want that smooth performance. Having said that though, if you have a fast internet connection, you're just going to be limited by the poor quality of the PlayStation Now in comparison to Grid. Grid will really let your internet speed shine, if you see what I mean. But the real icing on the cake for the Nvidia service is, providing that you play enough games, as in you're a hardcore gamer, you get much better value for your money. As instead of with PlayStation Now where you pay for individual games, at up to £4.99 for 2 days, with Nvidia you just pay for access to the Grid service, and so you can use whatever game you want to, whenever you want to. Now clearly, PlayStation's target audience here is hugely bigger than Nvidia's, so I'm kind of surprised that Nvidia has actually managed to lay down the infrastructure for a service that's arguably better than PlayStation's. It's kind of embarrassing for Sony. Anyway guys, that's it from me for now. Those are my thoughts on the two services. It'd be kind of interesting just to see what your guys' thoughts on it are. I mean, do you prefer PlayStation or do you just not have the Nvidia hardware to be able to use the Grid service? Thanks for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed this video.